5-star Psychubes are generally regarded as not being worth the investment due to lower base stats and worse effects. That is, except one, Yearning Desire. There's quite some talk about on how good or bad this Psychube actually is, especially when looking at its 6-star counterpart, Blasphemer of Night, which grants a very similar effect but requires 2 or more next status effects to keep the amplification active, which is, to be honest, not really achievable for quite some teams. Looking at Yearning Desire, it grants 300 attack, 15% incantation might and 8% damage dealt if the attack target is affected by stats down or next status. This can easily be achieved by common support such as Beacon Bloom or even Tooth Fairy and Voyager, who both can apply Confusion, which is considered a negative status. Yearning Desire provides 30 and 80 attack less compared to Thunderous Applause and his Bounden Duty respectively, which is akin to a damage loss of around 3 to 8% against high-leveled enemies. However, 5-star Psychubes also require significantly less investment, being around 25% cheaper in both XP and Sharpodonty required. This will become important later on. So I got my hands on Yearning Desire, leveled it up to Engravement 3 level 56, which is when I ran out of experience materials, but I wanted to do this video before Christmas, so here we are. I took my Lilya and Centurion and went into 421 hard mode, this time joined by Beacon Bloom. For Lilya, I tested Thunderous Applause, Yearning Desire and his Bounden Duty and added Voyager Info Confusion for the latter two as well, to guarantee nearly 100% crit rate to get a look at the maximum potential for Lilya, as she loses out on 32% crit rate when she does not have Thunderous Applause equipped. For Centurion, I tested a pure single target and mixed rotation each with Yearning Desire, his Bounden Duty and Hopscotch. That being said, his Bounden Duty is only E3 level 50 and Yearning Desire is at E3 level 56, so take the results with a little grain of salt, since they are missing out on quite some stats, which is especially true for his Bounden Duty being short 57 attack, or around 5% DPS. Regardless of the Psychube equipped, Beacon Bloom's debuff has always been active for any damage inflicted, and runs where I could not guarantee the exact same rotation have been cut from the sheet, as we want to have a comparison of damage under the exact same circumstances. However, this also means that this test does not reflect a realistic scenario and only shows the potential of all Psychubes involved given the tested scenario. I also tested Melania with Luxurious Leisure and Yearning Desire, but I had really inconsistent and inconclusive results, so I didn't include it in this video, as Luxurious Leisure gets better the more often you use your ultimate, and that is very RNG dependent. For Melania specifically, if you have Luxurious Leisure, stick to it, it's her best in slot. That being said, let's have a look at the results. I will skip all of the boring parts, but if you're interested in them, as always, the link to the sheet is in the description. Yearning Desire turns out to be really good. While being around 7% behind Thunderous Applause and 5% behind his Bounden Duty, if you can keep Confusion active on your target, Yearning Desire will shoot ahead of Thunderous by around 6 and 4% ahead of his Bounden Duty. Now, let's keep in mind that his Bounden Duty is missing 57 attack, which equals to around 12% DPS. Yearning Desire can go even with his Bounden Duty and definitely come out ahead of Thunderous, which also proves Steambund X's point of TA being trash, unfortunately. For Centurion, we get a similar but not as definitive result. While Yearning Desire beats out his Bounden Duty and Hopscotch in all AoE scenarios, Hopscotch is significantly ahead of Yearning Desire and his Bounden Duty in pure single target. Now, again, given that HBD is missing around 5% DPS, Yearning Desire is a worse Psychube for Centurion than Hopscotch or even HBD. However, we can also not forget that Yearning Desire is a 5-star Psychube and hence requires 25% less investment than 6-star Psychubes. So, let's conclude. While Yearning Desire can keep up with maxed out 6-star Psychubes on Lilya and even beat out most of her best on slot Psychubes given the right team, it falls slightly behind on characters such as Centurion. However, given the 25% less investment needed and an overall damage difference of around -10% for Centurion single target and +9% for mixed, if you are short on resources and are in need of a generic DPS Psychube, Yearning Desire is a great investment if you can make use of its amplification effect. However, running Yearning Desire will limit your team building and also your rotations, as you do need to keep the debuffs active on the enemies, whereas other Psychubes may give you unconditional damage. But this also means that in crit-based teams where you would want to run characters such as Tooth Fairy or Voyager anyway, Yearning Desire will be a great investment if you are free to play or short on resources. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Peace.